It's the Browns Affordable Towing, Sangster's Automotive number 0. Give it up for Jason Pickles. Okay, so you're going to have to say what you just said in your microphone.
Not a chance.
That was great. What did you say?
No, you just said, hey, give it up for Pickles. And I was like, is it Dill? Sorry. Terrible jokes. That's what I'm good at.
That was slightly bad, but the sign crew appreciates that. One more time, folks. The 0 is Jason Pickles. And you know what? Jason was in your... So for those that might be new to the speed world, for those that are watching on the live look-in, you drive one of these late model Sportsman cars every Friday night.
I do, yes. Number 1, our main spot. I guess I could do a little plug here.
Go ahead.
Pache Motors, Bunky Hans Insulators. Yeah, they.
You should be good.
Okay, sorry, microphone difficulties here. Yeah, this is my 4th season doing it, and I'm kind of like regretting not coming here now, watching them out here.
You're having, what is it, FOMO?
FOMO, fear of missing out.
See, I'm getting used to these new terms, like the hip terms. I got introduced again to TikTok last week.
You're on TikTok.
No, I'm not.
Why?
I downloaded the app and never even... Meredith Hay tried to get me on. You tried to get me on TikTok.
Yeah.
Destiny Ankles tried to get me on TikTok.
If you get it prepared to give at least 2.5 hours of your day to the app. But it's fun.
That's
fun.
Not a great selling feature, though.
but then it's funny. It's all worth it.
Okay. Dylan Langel's on. Dylan Langell is here somewhere. I don't know where he is. He's avoiding Brandon Campbell.
Oh, ouch.
But I think he said he had like 30,000 views on a TikTok last week, and I said,
"Oh, he went TikTok famous."
How does a breath mint get viewed 30,000 times? TikTok.
Wow.
See,
right,
listen,
you got bad
that's
jokes
one
too.
One for you,
wow.
one for me.
Okay, so now I'm up next. I'll come up with a shitty joke.
Yeah. Welcome into Tim's Corner Live, episode number 28. Tim Terry, Dylan Langell, and Dylan, what is in the other box next to us?
What is? Who is?
Who is? What is?
Someone who didn't make their bed. Their mother is probably pretty angry at them.
The best 99 car in Atlantic Canada is in here right now, and it's me.
Let's see. Craig Slaunwhite. We got Gerald Gallant. We got Dave Matthews. Cody
It's
Byrne
me.
drove a 99 this
me.
weekend. Bristol Matthews. I mean, we're running out of options, but Brandon Campbell is with us. The dream team, I guess, is back together again after 2 days at Scotia.
Long days.
We sweated together. We're like brothers now.
Yeah, something like that. I told Lawrence again today, we need to work on the AC issue in the tower at Scotia because we don't really have any AC at Scotia in the middle. But by the way, coming in on the intro there, that was Megan Perrot's re-debut, I guess, on Friday night. She wasn't in the race car Friday night, but Dylan, we had a couple of dry jokes on Sunday. We were trying to keep up with Meg, but I don't think we got there.
No, she did pretty well. I mean, hopefully, and it looks like she will be at the AJK race coming up on Friday. She's on the entry list. Great card, by the way. I know we're going to dive into that a little later. But you know what? As a driver analyst, she did very good. So I know she probably doesn't want to be on the sideline too much, but she'd be a good pinch hitter for a little analyst if we ever get a 3-person booth on one of these broadcasts.
Yeah, but she doesn't want to be in the booth. She wants to be in the race car, and I can understand that. We're going to talk a lot of AJK 50 coming up a little bit later on. $1,000 to win, over $8,000 in the purse for Friday night at Scotia Speedworld. 50 laps for the Fleet Break Atlantic Sportsman. 23 cars in the entry list. We're going to talk more about it a little bit later on with Pete Miller, the guy who's put it together and a 2-time winner this season in the Sportsman division at Scotia Speedworld. We're going to talk a little Lake Doucette Motor Speedway at the end of the show as well with Kyle Hines, multi-time champion at Lake Doucette, and a guy that finished second to Jason Morris when we were down there, Dylan, a couple of weeks ago.
Who needs a door? Not him.
That's it. Him and Jason Morris got together in the semi and still went on and battled it out in the feature. So excited to have Kyle on here and get him up to speed and talk a little Lake Doucette Motor Speedway. We are live and interactive here this evening. Drop us a question, drop us a comment. And Brandon, you're going to be on social tonight, so hopefully you're going to be busy because I know we have one of our most popular guests returning to the show here tonight. And by the way, Denver not here. Denver is getting ready for this weekend. They are coming to Scotia Speedworld for the AJK 50, and they're coming to Riverside for the Wilson Equipment Summer Sizzler.
Twin 75s.
It's Twin 75s, but technically we're having a competition caution at 75. So I'm hesitant to call it Twin 75s. I like Summer Sizzler. Did you say something about a wheel or something spinny thing?
Yeah, if you get the newsletter from Riverside Speedway, the roulette wheel is making an appearance, and there's a little baby chance it may not just be with the Pro Stocks.
There's a little baby chance. You're
Whatever
saying there's
means.
a chance. Okay, well, let's roll with that. Let's dive in and let's get ready for our first guest here on the show. It is the driver of the number 99 Pro Stock, and as we saw on our screen, he carried the checkered flag for the first time on the East Coast International Pro Stock Tour in a couple of years' time. I want to welcome to the show Craig Slaunwhite. Craig, welcome back to Tim's Corner Live.
Thank you for having me.
First time that we've had a repeat guest on the show, so no pressure tonight, eh?
None.
Let's talk about Sunday. Triple header at Scotia Speedworld, double for the East Coast International Pro Stock Tour. You've got to be happy with the outcome. Obviously, your season has gone really well, but dominant performance on Sunday. For those that weren't at the racetrack or didn't watch it on Tim's Corner TV, walk us through a Sunday afternoon drive at Scotia Speedworld.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it could have went a whole lot better than the way it did. Actually, it started right from first practice. You lead first practice, you lead second practice, you lead third practice. You go into the heat race. I'm no good at drawing numbers, so I had Matt draw the number. He drew Pill. I forget what he drew. It was pole of the third heat. Got the win there, and then obviously win the feature. That doesn't happen. Basically, if the first four things being all practice and the heat race go well, the feature normally doesn't. But we were able to pull it off, and it couldn't have been on a better day. We had all of Presidential's, well, shouldn't say all of them, but majority of their employees and kids, and everything just kind of worked out well. Andrew and Corey, Dave drove through the night from day one with Cassius at Oxford, Saturday night, second or third with Austin Sorry, and then drove through the night to come and crew with me, and a big weekend for them, right, too. So my first win in 5 years. It's quite a day.
And it happens at Scotia Speedworld, and you kind of tied in where I was going with this next one, Presidential Ventilation being there and a huge partner on your race car the last 2 years. How cool was it to get that win at home? It's a doubleheader weekend. First time we've run a doubleheader weekend on the tour, and
I think since we started in 2001. So it's a historic weekend, lots of meaning to that racetrack. How cool was it to pull it into Victory Lane in Halifax?
Oh man, it was emotional for me because it felt like my first win all over again, really, after going 5 years without winning. With the guys that I got involved right now, we've just got such a great thing going on. It doesn't happen any better than the way it went down on Sunday. I mean, when this whole doubleheader thing was, I guess, announced, I wasn't a fan. Like, man, my budget don't allow me to race 2 times in one weekend. Like, my budget allows me to race once a weekend, hopefully no crashes, no repairs, all that kind of stuff. So when that was announced, it was like, wow, man, that's a lot. However, it all worked out. I think it worked out for a lot of people, to be honest. It wasn't like it wasn't a wreck fest. The Saturday show was a good show. Everybody did their maintenance and their homework on Saturday night or Sunday morning, got their cars ready, and you didn't see mechanical failures or nothing like that. So I mean, yeah, everybody pulled it off. Is it going to be something that a fellow looks forward to every year? No, I really don't think so. But given the circumstances with COVID and needing to get an amount of races in, I mean, yeah, it worked.
I was going to say, in hindsight, would you do it again? But I guess that answered the question. And I think the good thing about the tour, I think Ryan Van Oerscott was the only one that was there really late, thrashing on his race car. The Butchers were there nutting and bolting the race cars. There was a couple there that were making sure that everything was good to go. But yes. I think for the most part, I think it worked totally for everybody given the circumstances, right?
Yeah, totally. It did. I mean, I'm not saying that I would never do it again, but in a normal year, I mean, we wouldn't have to do that.
Absolutely. We are live and interactive here this evening with Craig Slaunwhite, driver the number 99. Be sure to drop us a question or a comment. We're live on both the East Coast International Pro Stock Tour page as well as Tim's Corner Motorsports, and Brandon will get to it. So let's talk about Saturday. I know it wasn't the finish that you wanted. You and Cole Butcher going at it near the end of the race, and then Dylan Blankhorn returning and giving you a run for that runner-up position. What's your summary from Saturday?
Summary from Saturday was kind of, everything seemed to have gone well for us on Saturday as well. Didn't get a real good start in the heat race. I picked 18 of 21 numbers, started second last in the third heat, whatever. Car was just so solid that I was able to drive by everybody and caught Nicholas, I think, like on the last lap or something. So finished second. That put us, I don't know, what did we start? Started fifth, maybe. Something like that. Saturday, third. I don't even know where I started. Fourth. Started fourth on Saturday. That's right. Was able to clear Greg lap one. Felt like I could have just drove low, made it 3 wide and had the lead on lap one. But obviously nobody wants to do that. Just car was just that good. I probably conserved way too much on Saturday, and it come back and it bit me. Like I could get myself out into the lead, and I didn't put enough of a space between me and the second place guy, which I think I could have. And then it stung me at the end with Cole. I didn't get up on the wheel. I didn't get ahead so that he couldn't hit me. And he did what he had to do to take the win. We're both in a points battle. He wants to win just like I want to win. I myself would much rather drive around somebody on the outside than to dig him in the left rear and take the win away. So it is what it is. I was second sucks, man. That was like my fourth second and a third. And to know that the win was that close, I was not happy because I've been questioning myself, right? Yeah. Brand new Fury car from King, Jonathan's car, won a bunch of races. And yeah, I've finished close, but close don't count, man. Close don't count. You got to hold the checker flag. And I was mad. I was mad after Saturday. I was. And I think it made me probably a little more determined. And then when Andrew got there, we chatted kind of back and forth on his way. kind of my feedback with what I thought the car was going to need to be a little bit better. And he's just so damn good at the racetrack that we made like 2 or 3 very, very, very small adjustments. And I mean, you've seen the result. It was, and I wasn't overwheeling the race car to stay where I was. So it was just a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
You seemed a little frustrated on Sunday morning when you rolled in that back gate, and even with all these consistent finishes, these podium finishes, finally getting that win was that relief. But I want to ask you about that points championship, because you kind of alluded to it there. When you're finishing second and third, it seems like Cole Butcher is right there mirroring those finishes. You guys are at the top of the standings. We're halfway through the season. We've got a few races left to go in the year. Are you thinking championship here with just a handful of races left?
I'm thinking everything. I want the championship and I want every win. That's how I'm thinking. I'm not going to the racetrack to finish second. I want to win. I want to hold the checker flag. Now that I held it, I want to hold more of them. And I mean, that brings on the checker flag. Is it going to be easy to do? No. You got one of the best in essentially North America. Cole can go anywhere and pull off a win. Cole goes to the States and runs up front. It's not, people might think that maritime racing, you know, let's go back to the 8 car race, right? The first one at Scotia, 8 cars, people all over social media. We're not going, I'm not spending money on that. I'm not spending money on this. And you could have threw a blanket over all 8 of us. And I had so many people say that was probably one of the best pro stock races I've ever seen. So can anybody run away with it? No, because the competition is so stiff. And especially when you throw Cole in the mix, or Dylan, or Jared. Jared stepped up. Jared got a bunch of speed. I'm thinking championship. I'm thinking wins. I mean, with wins comes a championship. Is it going to be easy to do with Cole in the mix? No, it's not. But I want to give him the run. I want to be the guy to give him the run, just like Jonathan did in 2019. You know, he had a battle with Turple. They're the guys to beat. They're the young guys that are good. They're the young guys to beat, man. Like, to pass them guys, to run with them at the front is making a fella's confidence creep higher and higher and higher. And it showed. I had a ton of confidence going into Sunday, knowing, you know, that we had a couple adjustments that we were going to make the car better from Saturday. And again, I think I should have won Saturday. I was the one that I should have got on the wheel and got away from him, so he didn't even have the opportunity to tag me in the left rear.
We are live and interactive here this evening with Craig Slaunwhite. Be sure to drop us a question or a comment. Brandon will get it to us here. And I guess we'll move forward. This week, Riverside International Speedway, it's a quick turnaround. We've got 4 races in 3 weekends, if you want to include that doubleheader we just came off of. We're going to go to Riverside. We've got a technically twin 75s. It's a 150 with a competition caution at halfway. Final race before the IWK 250 at that racetrack. What are your thoughts heading into Saturday?
I'm anxious because, I mean, I ran good there the first time we were this year. That was the first time. Like, I mean, I'm going to these racetracks. I'm unloading this car, and we're in the mix. So I finished second to Nicholas, and I mean, Nicholas essentially is the car to beat there right now because he won the race in the fall between him and Proud, I guess. Nicholas won the race in the fall, goes out and wins this first race. But I mean, I was on his heels, and we made an adjustment before the race that was a positive adjustment, but when it was time for me to get on the wheel, Crossmember was hitting the racetrack, so I couldn't make the pass. So going into this weekend, I mean, the confidence is running high. So for many years, Tim, after a Saturday night, me and the guys look at each other and go, oh man, we got to slug on this thing again all week to come here and finish 5th or 8th or 10th, hope that 4 or 5 of them get in a tangle. We might pull out a win or a top 3, whatever the case may be. But now, when Saturday night is over, we're all like, when are we going there again? You want to go Thursday night? When are we going? Are we going Friday? We want to go to the racetrack. It's just different for us right now.
And I kind of want to bring it back to a point you had a little bit earlier. You're talking about Andrew Hicken and the whole King Racing program. How important is that in the program and the preparing to get to the racetrack on a weekend?
100%. Car's there right now. Me and the guys were at Shane's last night and just, did the cleaning, did the patching decals, all that kind of fun stuff, filled it with fuel. Andrew got a busy week on. But that's where the car's been during the week. So they're the ones preparing it for the up and coming race day. Slide it in the box and we unload it on race day. And I mean, it to be honest with you, it's kind of crazy. I never would have expected that it was so much of an open book between all the whole team. Everybody that unloads, their cars are near identical. And then it's up to the driver. It's up to race day. It's up to Corey. If Corey's running his car, he's damn good at tuning that fine tune adjustment. So we seen him. He dominated Petty. Should have won that race. And at the end of the day, he made the better decision that day than what I made. I finished third or whatever the case may be. No different than proud going into this weekend. If he's a 16th away from probably being able to dominate the race. I'm a 16th away. Marty Prevost is a 16th away. Kyle Reed, Chris Reed, everybody in these cars, Austin, it's all the same. It's crazy. So when you unload, it's humbling to know that our speed is all very similar and it's up to the driver. And I've been saying that for years. I wish I could get involved with a car that I know, leave it up to me. Let me take the reins. Let me drive it. Let me be the one. Like, let's get the car equal. And we're at that situation right now. So it's taken me to the next level. I mean, I've finished in the top 3 a lot over the last 5 years, whatever the case may be. But I was also wheeling 150% every screaming lap to keep up and wearing brakes out, wearing tires out, wearing myself out to keep up. And this is the first time I've ever been able to sit in a race car and ride. Let's ride. Let's get out. Let's pace. Let's just pace. We're in the lead. Let's pace. I've never had that. I've never had that in my racing career. So it's crazy. It's incredible. The preparation that them guys do down there, the attention to detail. An 8th is not close enough anymore. If he's not bang on his measurement, or if Corey's not bang on the measurement, or if Jonathan's not bang on the measurement, they're gonna touch every corner until it's bang on. And that's why they run good. Listen, I cursed them guys for years. Honest to God. It's no different than the guy that's winning is cheating, right? It's not that. It is not that. Them guys do their homework. It's incredible to be involved.
Before we go over to Dylan, because I know he's chomping at the bit here, I want to ask you about the schedule coming up in September, because we've got 4 races right in a row that are 200 laps or more, including the Fredericton 250, including the Mike Stevens Memorial, and then 2 tour races, including the IWK 250 smack dab in the middle of that. I want to get your thoughts on the schedule. What's any preparation difference going into that, knowing that usually the back end of the schedule is busy, but not this busy? What's the thought going in?
I think when the schedule come out, everybody knew that it was such a compressed schedule and there was going to be so many races, basically every weekend from whatever point it was when it was announced to the end of the year. And I guess for me, it's probably different because I'm running good. So yeah, let's get to the racetrack. The compressed schedule is not bothering me a bit. Would it have last year, the year before, the year before, the year before, the year before? Yeah, I'd have been mad. Right. But I just want to go to the racetrack. We all want to get to the racetrack. Shane, Nix, Roderick, Matt, we all want to get to the racetrack. Curtis was with me on the weekend. First time Curtis has been back, on my crew, and we get the win. And I mean, if it wasn't for that guy, I wouldn't even be in Pro Stock, to be honest with you. So yeah, man, it's straight ahead. Let's go racing.
Okay, Dylan, what do you got for Craig Slaunwhite?
Well, I just want to congratulate you on your win again. And yeah, I mean, you Cole and Dylan put on a fantastic show. For Tim and I, we're the first fans essentially, and we were having a ball with that race. How did you find a 300 spread over 2 days compared to a 250? You get the break after, you get to collect your thoughts and figure out, okay, what went wrong, what worked, what didn't work. What were your thoughts compared to like doing a straight up 250 and then adding 50 laps, but then 18 hours in between?
Cut away from our drinking time.
Maybe.
I love 250s. 250s have always been my thing ever since the first one I was in, the Pepsi 250 in Shediac. I won it. And right from then on, I strive for the 250s. You know, I'm fortunate enough to get that Pepsi 250, the Peterbilt. Where's it? It was the Peterbilt 250 there on the sign. Cat 250. I guess what else did I win, Tim?
You won an international. It wasn't a 200, or it wasn't
200.
A 250, but you've won those long races.
Right. So I love the 250s. 300 over 2 days. Essentially, I just treated it as a 150 each day. It wasn't any more grueling than a 250. I mean, if you're going 150, what's another 100 laps? It's really nothing. So yeah, I'm a 250 guy. I'm a 2 day, 2 150s, essentially 300 laps. Make it a 300 lapper. Make Andy Ganesh a 300 lapper. Let's do it. I'd rather 300 laps in 1 day. Like, well, I was actually suggesting that last week. Like, why not just get Scotia together in the tour and say, let's do a 300 lapper? It would have been the first one since, I don't know, Greg Stewart was saying they did a 300 way back when. So let's do that again. Like, the 1 day show is plenty. Especially when you treat the whole weekend as a getaway, so to speak. You know, me and my crew, we camp there. So it's Friday night. You're not going at it too hard because you got to race all day Saturday. But Saturday night for us is a party. We're the party spot. That's just who we are. I've been that way since 2008 when I joined the tour.
So you're telling me on Saturday night you had a Bible study after the first 150?
Yeah, studied the Bible. Yeah. Negative.
Well, I mean, how consistent you've been so far in 2021, that big IWK 250, that by your words right there, that is just pretty much the last big race you need to win. How confident do you feel going into the IWK 250? I know we got the warm-up race of the Twin 75s coming up, but the whole big shebang in about 3 weeks' time. How do you feel?
Great. Again, I've never had a car that felt that good in Antigonish, like what I did the last time we were down there. Anything can happen. We all know that setups can somewhat go a little bit sideways during the day because the track is hotter than the last time you were there. You know, it might have a little more tack on it. Could be a little more rubber put down on it. But I think that what Andrew has going with these cars, they're good no matter the circumstance, to be honest. Then it's up to us to tune them during the day. And the confidence level going into the 250, I mean, again, you can't shoot yourself in the foot because we have a race this weekend there. Could we go there this weekend and dominate the show? Yeah, we could. Could we go there and finish fifth and struggle? Yeah, we can. It's just the way it is. But the confidence level is still high. I'm looking forward to the IWK 250. It's the one that's eluded me so far. And I think out of the last 5 years, the last 5 years of IWK 250s, I've been on the podium, I think. So out of the last 6, I've been on the podium 5, or out of the last 5, I've been on the podium 4, something like that. I mean, so I love 250s. Might not have a great car at the time, but I love 250s. I'm always there at the end. I want to be there. I'm the guy that'll get on the wheel and be there at the end of the race. No matter what the car is, I'm going to get out of it 110%. So I'm looking forward to it in this car.
We got the Twin 75s coming up this Saturday. Now, Lady Luck could be on your side, and you can blame me if anything goes wrong, because we're going to bring the roulette wheel out again, and we're going to do possibly a top 10 invert, maybe a top 5. It depends how the wheel goes. At the triple 50s a few years ago, do you remember how that darn roulette wheel messed up your race or maybe helped you out a little bit? And how do you feel about it with maybe a smaller field of cars this weekend? It may not be as big of a thing compared to 2019.
Yeah, listen, it's one of those things that if it helps you, it's the best thing since sliced bread. If it hurts you, you'll curse it up and down. So At the end of the day, if that's what's going to happen, if it's going to be a Russian roulette wheel this weekend, there's nothing any of us can do with it. I could be leading the race at 75 and restart 10th. I could be 10th at 75 and restart first. Who knows? Is it ideal in a point situation? Probably not. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'll make the best of it, whether the last 75, you got to come from 10th or not. Listen, when you got a good car, you can make a lot of passes in 75 laps. I mean, it depends on if you get caught behind two guys side by side or something like that. It could get frustrating. But I think the job can still get done from 10th to 1st in 75 laps.
How do you prepare mentally for that with a break coming up, thinking, okay, they're going to spin that wheel. I'm leading, but there's a chance that I could be in 10th here. And you don't want to lag back because you want to be in front because you're faster out front. How do you deal with that thinking in the car?
Is there a zero invert on it then?
I think there was, Tim.
I think there was a no invert.
Yeah. So if there's a no invert, just sail it, man, straight ahead. First 75 laps, let her go, and hope that if you're the guy in the lead, you get 0 versus 10. That's the only way I look at it. I mean, I'm not one for. I've never sandbagged, I don't think, in my entire life. I mean, it's pretty cool when you get in front to conserve, but I've never sandbagged. So no, for me, strategy is just get up on the wheel, keep the nose clean. That would be my strategy. And go from there, get to the first 75 and see what happens.
One more for me before we throw it to Tim or throw it to social media. And you already mentioned the driver, Nicholas Noggle. Would you say he's the biggest threat and your biggest opponent at Riverside coming up this weekend, since he's been picture perfect the past 2 times we've been there?
If I was a betting man, knowing Brian Noggle, that race car that won last year was the one that won this year, that is probably still on jack stands and done nothing but maintenance on it. So he's going to be good. Absolutely, he's going to be. He can be a threat, as can anybody else, man. As can Cole, as can Jared, as can throw Kyle Reed in the mix. Greg Proud. I haven't seen the entry list. I don't know how many cars are coming, but man, I mean, yeah, is Nicholas going to be a threat? 500% he is. He just won the last 2 races there, so how could he not be? But at the end of the day, anybody can pull off the win right now when you're dealing with the times and the competitiveness of that top 6, 8, 10. Donald, look at Donald. It's his home track. He could lead every lap. So who knows?
We're going to go to social now because we have another driver that I don't want to say drives a 99 car, because technically you can't drive something that doesn't start and sits as a lawn ornament. But Brandon Campbell, welcome to the show. I know you've had a conversation with some people on social. What's up?
Yeah, lawn ornament, expensive lawn ornament, but I guess that's what it does. Daniel Ateo, I know you said Adio. Yeah, he says, Tim, you missed a good race at 660 on Sunday.
Yeah, by the way, congratulations on Daniel on his first 4-cylinder win in Fredericton. I know he's been a partner here at Tim's Corner Motorsports and advertising with Adio Tire and does all our points graphics on our TV side. So congratulations to Daniel. They've got a big Gunslinger 50 coming up. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show, but congratulations to Daniel on that.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to kind of tie this into Speed Weekend, because I remember last year, me and Travis Conroy walking through the campground, and we said, where's the big party tonight? And we roll up to Craig's camper, and he goes, if I win tomorrow night, this is the big party. So is that something we're looking forward to this year, maybe having the big party after Speed Weekend?
Yeah, if we get there, for sure. It's still kind of, the Speed Weekend is kind of up in the air for us right now. But, you know, at the end of the day, it don't matter what racetrack we're at. If somebody's looking for a party, chances are my trailer is probably going to be one of them.
Yeah, I don't know where you were last year, Brandon, but we there was definitely a party down there on Speed Weekend. I don't know where you were.
If it was past 10 p.m., I was probably already in bed.
Oh, okay, so you and Brittany and that whole crew were in the same place. It didn't show up. I understand.
Yeah, everybody was asleep. It was a long weekend for some of us.
Yeah, speak for yourself. Go ahead. Yeah. What else do you got?
Here's kind of another question. It's not social related, but I'm sure my answer is different than yours. Craig, what would you say the wildest moment you've ever had at Speed Weekend was?
The wildest moment?
Yeah, like the craziest moment you've ever had at Speed Weekend.
Oh, I don't know, punching Johnny Clark in the face.
Was that the time you ran across the entire track?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
that
I
was
was
it.
getting at. Yeah.
That was it. That was my wildest Speed Weekend story, I would imagine. I'm not so sure any else can top that.
I'm glad, because that would have been my answer too.
that
We have
was
our
quite the night.
Yeah, it was a good time for sure. We have our friends from Wingnut here, Tim.
Yep.
He says, hello, Tim and Dylan. He left me out. That's okay. He made up for it. But he says, how are you guys? And again, congrats to Craig again. So that's our camera crew, right? At Scotia.
Thanks.
Yep,
Thanks. He's a good fellow.
Yep.
And he's now a dancer, singer, I heard.
Yeah.
Probably blow up on the TikTok or something.
Friday night or something at Scotia. We have too much fun on Friday nights at Scotia. I do see, though, and you kind of threw it into the Speed Weekend deal, Brandon, of talking about live pit stops. We were on that 300 debate compared to twin 150s about doing live pit stops. Craig, we do it at Speedway 660. I think it's the only racetrack around here that does live pit stops. There's no hot dog halfway break. So what's your take? I guess we'll throw that at you too, about live pit stops compared to that halfway break sort of deal where you have an opportunity to fix the race car, put tires in the race car and do whatever, compared to not having that break.
I think that's the big excitement part of Speed Weekend, is that it's live pit stops. There's no halfway break. I love it. It gets your crew members pumped up a little bit more. It's probably the biggest highlight, I guess, of going into the weekend, is that it's live pit stops. So you can make so many spots up during that. It's the strategizing. It's, do you take tires early? Do you take tires late? Depending on where you're at in the field. It's more of a strategic race than a normal get to lap 125, make your adjustments, have your 10 minutes, go back out on the racetrack, and then restart your next 125. It's a legit 250 lap race that gets everybody excited. So I love it myself.
Brandon, you got a couple more questions over there on social. I'll let you take the ball.
Yeah, we've got some stuff rolling in now. So Brent Roberts is actually kind of switching it. He goes, what are your thoughts on the 40-lap competition cautions?
You know what, with the car counts, it's not a bad thing, I don't think, because there's fans that don't want to see Craig Slaunwhite lead every lap. There's fans that want to see the field tighten up. There's fans that don't want to see Cole Butcher go and lead every lap, or Dylan Blankhorn lead every lap. There are some that love to see that. But I think the competition yellow, with the car counts that we have, kind of just gives the opportunity to tighten up the field. Might keep a few guys on the lead lap. I really don't think it's a bad thing. If there was a car counts of 22 to 26 cars or whatever, I mean, chances are you probably wouldn't get to that 40 lap run anyway before there's a caution. So I don't know. I think I'm for the 40 lap caution, just for the simple fact that it makes the show better for the fans. If I'm out dominating the race, do I want to see it happen? No, but the fans are what essentially makes the world go round.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of back to Scotia, we saw the outside lane come in. So what was going through your mind when you had the choice to decide inside or outside, which you actually decided outside quite a few times?
Yeah, I don't mind the outside at Scotia at all. It's one of my favorite spots to be. It's one of my favorite places to pass. Again, I'm not going to hit you in the left rear. I'm going to put my left front fender on your right rear quarter panel. I'm going to make the pass. It's how I grew up racing. Like, the outside was the place essentially to pass a car, and it's just always been ingrained in my head. And I just love to send it on the outside. And the restarts, if you can keep that guy pinched down, that second place car that's essentially starting on the inside. If you can keep him pinched down, chances are you're going to drive off better, and you're going to get that lead back, versus if that second place car pinches you down, there's a chance he's going to get that lead. So the lead choices, the start choice is a good thing. It can bite you. It can win you the race. But as far as Scotia, for me, I went back and forth a few times. Just kind of, I knew my car was good enough. I think that if I restarted on the bottom, I could get the lead, or if I restarted on the top, I could get the lead. So it was just. I think we were just trying the different ways in case there was a late caution. Which lane was I gonna want? And chances are, if it was a late caution at Halifax, don't mind sending it in on the outside. I probably would have went to the outside for a late caution, late restart, I should say. So, but at the end of the day, it was just probably searching around.
Yeah, for sure. And Tim, unless I can't read, which sometimes I can, I think that's all we've got for now.
Obviously, you are blind. Jordan Fraser, yeah, but Jordan, it's okay. You're the learning race car driver. You're the learning social guy. We'll get you there eventually. Jordan Fraser wants to know, question from Frank Fraser: what is your favorite race you won with the Fraser family?
Oh, geez, the 250 and at 660. I mean, it was the Scott Fraser Memorial Cup. We were racing against Ron Hornaday, from the Truck Series. The guy partied with us after the race. Curtis climbed the fence. It was my rookie season. That's the race. I mean, that's probably my most memorable win of all time anyway. It was that Peterbilt 250 racing for Scott Fraser Racing. It was a Scott Fraser Memorial Trophy. I mean, it doesn't really get a whole lot better than that. So to see the smile on Frank's face, everybody crying, it was, it was crazy. It was like 10 years to the day since Scott won it. Just everything about that race was special.
And obviously that's big. Jordan also wants to know, is there any other favorite memories that you have with the Fraser family?
Everything was memorable, right? They're the ones that got me where I am today. If it wasn't for the Fraser family, if it wasn't for that phone call from Curtis, if it wasn't for, one of my best friends, Turple, putting the vote in for me probably to drive for them as well. It gained me a family. It gained me best friends. It gained me a racing career in the Pro Stock division. If it wasn't for Frank Fraser and Scott Fraser Racing, Craig Slaunwhite might not be Craig Slaunwhite on the Maritime Pro Stock Tour. That's how I feel.
Jesse Thompson wants to know, any thoughts on trying some simulators just to see what they're like? I don't take you as an iRacing sort of guy, but we'll pose a question to you.
Oh, I'm definitely not a video game, or I shouldn't say a video game guy. I'm not. I did try it with Scott and Mike Alexander, and Gary Crooks actually was up a couple years back, Christmas time, when we went to watch the World Juniors or something, and we ended up going to Scott's, and I tried it, and it was pretty damn cool, I must say. But I'm not a half-ass guy. I'm not going to get a Logitech steering wheel and a computer screen in front of me and go, I'm going to go and win this race. I'm going to want that $20,000 simulator to sit in with a race car seat and do that. And it's just not in the budget. So if somebody wants to donate one, man, I'm in.
Well, Cole had one for sale at one point. Maybe you guys can share.
Maybe.
Zach Frazier wants to know, because we kind of touched on the Johnny Clark story. For those that don't know, we were talking about the Johnny Clark deal. What happened there at 660?
Oh, that night, man, him and I, we were probably the two fastest cars, I think, that night. He spun me 3 times, and the third time I just had enough. Well, the third time it was over for me. He spun. I was in the track. Carnahan come, T-bones me. My day's totally done. Johnny kind of just drives off like no man's business, no sweat off his ass. And get spun by somebody once, right? That's one thing. Get spun by the same car in the same race, takes it to another level. Get spun by the same guy, same race for the third time, game on, right? Game on. And I remember, God rest his soul, Brian Spidey. He came over to I was getting out of the car, and he was just, are you all right? You all right? Because at the time, my cool box, Jason hit me so hard on the side that my cool box bust inside the car and soaked me. So I actually thought, like, I was kind of half freaking out, going like, this is hot water, but it wasn't. It was hot water out of my cool box at the time, because I think the race was a long one. Anyways, I get out of the car, and Spidey was kind of just like, you all right, man? Are you all right? Just, calm down. Because I was kind of pissed. And I said, no, I'm good. Stay here. I'll never forget Spidey saying that. Just stay here. Just calm down. Just stay here. Okay, man, he turned his back, and I just remember just something clicked in my head. Find Johnny Clark. And the furthest place I looked was where he was. And I just ran toward the car. I didn't know what I was going to do when I got there. Just started feeding him laps.
Can I step in for a second, Tim?
Sure.
This is what, it's probably not how you want to be remembered, but this is what made me a Craig Slaunwhite fan. Because this was how many years ago now? It was a while.
Yeah, I don't know when that was. That would have been like 2012.
Yeah, I was like 13 or 14, and that just made my whole day.
I've had so many people say that. I mean, nobody wants to see fights at the racetrack, because that was one thing that always kept racing so interesting, was that you were allowed, you could, have words, or maybe there was a punch thrown or something like that. You do that this day and age, and you're going to jail. Not because we run against kids that are 20 years old and younger. So, anyways, yeah, I had so many people saying, I always liked watching you, but after that night, I'm a fan forever, sort of thing. Do I want to be known as the reason why you're my fan because I went and punched somebody in the face? No, but it was adrenaline. I mean, Johnny and I are buddies, you know what I mean? When he finally got his win, I sent him a message like, congratulations, it's been a long time. It's just heat of the moment. You do crazy things that sometimes you regret, sometimes you don't. It happened. It is what it is. Move on.
We'll make a last call on social now, because I know we got Pete Miller waiting in the wings to talk about the AJK race coming up. But Tyler Hawes, by the way, congratulations on his win on the weekend with the Heart of a Champion Hot Rod Class. It was that hugger throwback. He wants to hear about the time that you won at Scotia with Mikey's steering wheel attached to it, the 250 a few years ago.
Yep. Well, that was obviously the race after. That was the immediate race, I think, after Mikey passed. We were the day of the funeral. We were sitting in Robbie's garage, and I remember me and Sean Tucker, like the hair just stood up on my arms. We were just sitting in the garage kind of after the funeral and doing our thing. And Robbie came over with two steering wheels. He gave one to me, gave one to Sean Tucker. And he said, here, boys, these are wheels for you. Mikey was famous for bending wheels. Famous. Every wreck he ever got into, I think he bent a steering wheel. Robbie gave me the steering wheel. It's hanging right there, actually, in the shop. It had the piece of yellow tape that he always put on it. It was all bent. And just something told me the Cat 250 day that day, just put it on, just put it on. And everything just came together that day. We went out, and I think the first half I was leading a bunch. Something happened to us where we had to start. No, there was a caution just before halfway. I was leading. There was a caution. Ben Rowe was second. And we go down into the corner on a restart just before halfway. My brake pedal goes right to the floor. I wash up into Benji. Ended up, I think I might have still had the lead, or something went on, whatever. And anyways, he come to me at halfway. I seen him coming in my mirror, and I was like, "Oh, Jesus, here we go." You know, you don't want Ben Rowe coming up, going on it. He's the most respected super late model racer of all time. And he come up and he just kind of put his hand on my shoulder and he was like, "Listen, dude, you don't need to do that." I'm like, no, man. My pedal went right to the floor. Like, I apologize. He's like, no. Get it fixed. You've got the car to go out and win this race. Keep your head on straight. You're going to win this race. And that was just, for me at the time, that was phenomenal. Right. And he calmed me down enough to realize, okay, well, I do have the car to win this race. And I went out and won the race with Mikey's wheel. There's just so many things happened that one day that another crazy memory for myself. So
you mentioned the crew a little bit earlier on. You got a lot of great marketing partners that help you get to the racetrack each week. Who makes it happen to get this 99 car into victory lane?
Oh man, Archibald Drilling and Blasting, Presidential Ventilation. These are best friends of mine as well. You know what I mean? Stones RV, Atlantic Explosives, Selrick Enterprises, Howard Little. My brother's company, KC Mechanical. My daughter has her own nail business. Just welcomed on the new sponsor there,
Clutch.ca.
Clutch.ca this weekend. I never knew about Clutch Canada until Friday, and kind of got introduced to them. And I mean, that's pretty crazy. You buy a car online, you got 10 days to give it back, or 750 kilometers. I mean, they're a legit business, and I never knew anything about them. And essentially, I'm a car guy. So, yeah, they're new. Mike Fulmore, B&L Fulmore. I'm probably missing people because I'm trying to go over it in my head. But, Matt Hines, Broderick Dean, Shane Lively, Stephen Nix, Curtis Lindsay, Andrew Hicken, Corey Hall, Jonathan Hicken, everybody that's on my immediate team here right now. I mean, there's many people over the years that I could sit here. I'd be here all night listening to people that have helped me over the years. There's people involved in my car that the name's not even on the car. So thanks to them, I'm a fortunate individual, man.
This has been great catching up with you, Craig. But before we go, we got Pete Miller coming up this week. I know the Scotia Speedworld Sportsman division means a lot to you as well. A couple of championships, Shriners Classic wins, all that stuff. There's a 50-lap race coming up in memory of Alex on Friday night. 1,000 to win, $8,000 purse. It's probably the richest sportsman race that we've run at Scotia for only being a 50-lap show in the last 15, 20 years that we've been there. From a race fan perspective, how cool is it to see that come to your home racetrack?
Oh, it's wicked. I mean, at the end of the day, if I had access to a sportsman car, I probably would run one myself. But if you know the story behind that, one of Pete's good buddies that just loved racing, him and Wayne just gave them money because he loved racing. And for those guys to lose somebody so close, I had the same thing happen to me with Dougie Hines, Halifax Glass. He was like a father figure in my life. He was a guy that took me to the next level too in pro stock racing. Matt's dad. So I know what Pete's going through. I know what that team's going through. I know that when you lose somebody that's that close to your race team, and then to have a race in his memory, with so much money on the line, like there's, from what I'm hearing, there's cars coming from all over the place. Curtis is bringing Brandon Carter down to run with the SFR car. Pete and Alex Johnson, I was there Friday night and watched that. Like that was probably the best side-by-side sportsman battle that I might have ever seen. That was pretty freaking cool. Those guys ran side by side. They never used each other up. I actually meant to reach out to both of them to say congratulations on the first and the second, because it could have went either way. But both of them had respect for one another. And sometimes in that sportsman division, you don't see a lot of respect. And there was a lot of respect given right there. I'm involved with, Shane's brother, Andrew Lively. He's in Sportsman right now. I mean, he had he's only raced it 2 times now. They had an unfortunate circumstance with a motor, but they're going to be involved in the race. Like normally I'm gone Friday at lunchtime, whatever the case may be, but I'll probably end up sticking around to watch that Friday night as a fan of the Sportsman division. Help Curtis and Brandon and Andrew and whatever, but pretty cool deal. I mean, that's a lot of money on the line for a Sportsman. They don't race for that much money anymore, or ever did. So kudos to Pete and Wayne and all those guys from Kennecook for putting this together. And Steve Williams, I seen, was putting up $500 for the best finishing outside of province car. The only thing that I see going into this weekend would be, it is a regular show. It's a points race, but at the end of the day, maybe open the gate an hour sooner and give the guys an extra 10 or 15 minutes worth of practice or whatever. That's just my 2 cents. If anybody's listening, that might help out, because it might gain cars from elsewhere. Because I've heard, like, well, we'd come. What's the practice? Because normally there's not much practice on a Friday night. Well, I mean, if there's an extra 10-minute or maybe 2 extra 10 minutes just for the Sportsman cars for this particular event, which is it's a pretty cool deal. Do it to get some cars.
And I think the format is wrong on the website, but I believe they're getting 3 10-minute practices to at least expand it just a little bit. But I know they're always listening at Scotia, and hopefully it falls in the right ears. Frankie said, "Damn, I wish I had the new house car finished for you and ready to go." So if there's somebody out there with a Sportsman car, would you say no if they offer to you in the next couple of days?
I probably wouldn't say no. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I know Greg Dow's
I'd like to be in a Frank Fraser. I'd like to be in a Frank Fraser house car.
There you go. I know Greg Dow's got a Sportsman car sitting in his shop, so maybe we'll have to twist some arms on that. Yeah, this has been fun, Craig. Thanks for joining us, and we'll chat with you Friday night, and if not, we'll chat with you in Victory Lane on Saturday again, right?
10-4. Thanks for having me on, guys. Have a good night.
Sounds good. That's Craig Slaunwhite, driver, the number 99 Pro Stock on the East Coast International Pro Stock Tour. And Dylan, as we just mentioned, $1,000 to win coming up on a Friday night. It's the AJK Sportsman 50. Are you excited to watch this one?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I can't be at the track due to prior commitments job, but I'm going to be tuning in to Tim. Am I muted, Tim?
No, you're good. I'm just hitting.
I got the notification. Like I was saying,
you're good. Keep going.
I'm going to be watching the race on timscorner.tv once I'm done my prior obligations, and I'm fired up for it. I'm going to crack a couple cold ones. What does Joe Chisholm say? Cold, tasty beverages,
wobbly pop or something like that. Yeah. So that's Mike James.
I got some of those ready to go, and it's going to be a fantastic race. I mean, it's great to see guys from New Brunswick. I saw the entry list earlier making the trip, like Brady Creamer. I mean, you talk about heavy hitters in the Sportsman division making a trip down for this race. It's going to be awesome. Get to the track if you can. If you can't be there, watch it. You're not going to want to miss it. And we got one of the guys who's putting this on in here right now, Tim.
Yeah, driver of the number 92 car and our most recent winner in the Fleet Break Atlantic Sportsman division joins us now on the show, Pete Miller. Pete, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking some time out and joining us. From a driver and a promoter and an organizer perspective, how excited are you for Friday?
I'm quite excited for it. Can't wait. Glad we got lots of cars.
For those that might just be joining us and coming off the Craig Slaunwhite interview, we've got $8,000 plus, I believe, on the line, $1,000 to win. There's all kinds of contingency awards, but for those that don't know, we're running it in memory of Alex. For those that don't know, AJK, give us a little bit of history on what Alex meant to you and your team and how this all came about for Friday night.
Somebody mentioned to me to see if we could have a race for him, and just everybody supported it. It's unbelievable the support we got. Alex was with us for probably 15 years with his name on our cars and stuff, so he was a pretty big part of our team.
And this year, especially, and you guys traveled everywhere around this Atlantic provinces to go to races, and to come back home and have this here and to have some away cars come in. It's going to be a special night. But before we really dive into this show, I want to ask you about your season because, yeah, Devin's won a couple of races, got that classic victory. You've been on the podium pretty much every race except for one this year and have won two of these Sportsman races. How big has it been to win 2 races in the depth of field that we have in Halifax every Friday night?
Yeah, it's been a good season for us so far. Car's been really strong every night. We done some work to it over the made it a lot better, and all the hard work we done on it over the winter has paid off.
We had Craig Slaunwhite on the show, and he was talking about the battle between you and Alex Johnson. Had to be 20 to 25 laps side by side, broken up by a caution in the middle. But to do it on the outside, to win that race on Friday night, how big of a deal was that to come away with the checkered flag and battle with Alex and not touch a door at all?
That was an exciting race. I'm sure it was for the fans. I know it sure was for me. It was a battle. Alex never touched me once. I never touched him. We just ran side by side, and it was a lot of fun.
We are live and interactive here this evening with Pete Miller. If you have a question for Pete, drop us a comment or a question, and Brandon will get to it. And let's talk about the AJK race as well. So if you got a question for that one, be sure to drop it down below. You and Devin and Alex have been the story of this early season. A couple of years ago, it was, Jordan Vino and Devin and you and a couple of others kind of going back and forth. But with the story being those 3 so far, with this Sportsman division to be up in front, what does it feel like to have your name up there going back and forth with those 2?
It's real tough competition. I find Scotia has probably one of the toughest sportsman classes there is to race in. And last year we was off the pace quite a bit compared to Devin. But like I said, we done some work to the car over the winter, and we're right there with him now. And Alex has got some help with his car, and he's really running strong this year too.
And that first win you had earlier this season, you had that you couldn't shake that 90 car for a few laps in behind. How good is it to see Wayne running up front with you guys?
It's good to see Wayne up there. I've been at him to do a few adjustments to his car, the same as I done to mine, to make it a little better, but he isn't really buying in that my changes have helped my car that much yet.
Let's talk about the travel, because I know our social media guy is going on to that too. You've done the racing in Shediac. You've raced at Petty Raceway. You've done some stuff at 660. Was cutting highlights for Kyle Hines' interview coming up later on, and you guys were at Lake Doucette last year. What is it about obviously the home cooking is great, but what do you enjoy most about the traveling with the Sportsman car?
I really enjoy going to other tracks, competing with other drivers, and that's kind of what I've done since we won the championship in 2016. We haven't really run any certain particular track for a championship since then. We've just kind of traveled around and had fun doing it, picked up a few wins here and there along the way and some good finishes, and everybody just enjoys it. We go camping when we go, and it's a good time.
Everybody has that favorite racetrack that they kind of circle on their list that says, hey, I want to hit it at least once or twice in the season. What's that racetrack for you?
Riverside. I love Riverside.
And that place has treated you well over the last couple of years. There is a doubleheader this weekend, and I know that's been on the eyes of a couple of those New Brunswick teams, especially to come down and run the AJK race on Friday night and then go up to Riverside for the 75 lappers. So for those that might not know, maybe there's fans that are, kind of wondering how much adjustment do you have to make to your late model after Friday night to get up the road to Saturday?
Actually, all I do to my car for every track I go to is change the rear end gears. That's all I do. I don't change spring shocks, none of that stuff. I just change the rear end gears.
So for those teams that are in New Brunswick that I know, there's been some that have said they have to make a bunch of changes to come down here. Laurie Cormier had told us a couple of months ago, it's a night in the shop, and you're going to spend that night in the shop anyway. You can do it, and you can go to different racetracks without changing a whole lot of gear, right?
I seem to be pretty competitive usually wherever we go, and like I said, all I change is rear end gears. I might have to make an adjustment here or there when I get to the track, but that's all we usually do.
Well, there you go, Dylan. There's no excuse now, right?
No, none at all. I mean, if you're going to do if you're coming from New Brunswick, going to Scotia Speedworld, you might as well just stay for the extra day and race in the Napa Sportsman Series. Pete, are you, I mean, I guess it must depend on how Friday night goes, but do you have the intentions of racing on Saturday as well at Riverside?
Oh, yeah, I'll be there for sure. If we got to stay up half the night to get the car fixed, we'll be there.
You had a good run back in July, and Russell Smith Jr. got the win. What do you got to do different to get the big win at Riverside on Saturday?
I think we'll just have to make a tweak or two on the car. I think we was pretty close there the last time. Russie even said to me when the race was over, I kind of used you up there. And he did kind of use me up, but that's all right. The shoe might be on the other foot sometime, I'm sure.
Driving style wise, Pete, do you have to do anything different going from a Scotia on a Friday night to Riverside on a Saturday afternoon mentally? I mean, you're going from a 3/10 of a mile little banked oval to a high banked third of a mile track.
No, you just got to hang on the wheel a little tighter and drive her in a little deeper.
I don't even keep it simpler than that, Tim. That's a pretty good answer.
Yeah, I think that's pretty simple. And I mean, the different driving styles for different racetracks, albeit just a little bit different. We got Kyle Hines coming up a little bit later on. Pete, let's talk about Lake Doucette Motor Speedway for a little bit, because I know you're one of those teams. Travis Romo went down a couple of years ago. There's been some teams that have made the trek. First of all, the racetrack is different. Second of all, the people there are phenomenal, second to none. Tell us a little bit about your experience at Lake Doucette Motor Speedway.
People in Lake Doucette are unbelievably nice. It's unbelievable the hospitality you get when you go there. The racetrack I love the racetrack. It's a real fun track to drive on. We've actually picked up a couple of wins down there in the last couple of years since we've been going down there. So I'm hoping to make a trip down there this year before they're all done again, at least one trip.
And you just answered Scott's question, because he wanted to know if you planned on making a trip down there at some point this season, and commitment on the great race on Friday night. And we're jumping around a little bit, but to have what we had Friday night as a racetrack and as a product on the racetrack, to go into a big race like that, how much of a momentum swing is it for you as a driver, picking up that huge win, going on the outside, stealing it at the end, going side by side with Alex for 20 laps? How big of a shot in the arm is that, regardless what race it is, albeit this is the AJK race coming up, but how big is it to have that shot in your arm, knowing you came off that big show?
It's a big confidence builder for sure. But we've had a good car all season at Scotia, and hopefully we got a good one this weekend, and I can guarantee you I'm going to give it 110% this weekend. It's not about the money this weekend. It's about the name on the trophy.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of names that are coming down, and somebody likened it a little bit earlier on to me is like the Shriners Classic. It's a big race. It means a lot to a lot of people. And it's at Scotia Speedworld, and you really have to get up on the wheel to win this one on Friday night. But I want to ask you about those away cars, because I know there are two for sure that are coming down, Brady Kramer and the 65 of Brandon Carter. And I know Curtis is tuned in and watching us here this evening. And I know of a couple more that are trying to thrash to get their race cars down from the Moncton area to come down. I know you've done a lot of traveling. So to have 2, 3, maybe 4 race cars come down from the province of New Brunswick to compete in this, how special is that going to be?
Yeah, it's great. It's great to have them guys come down. I travel up there a lot, racing up there, and it's great for them to come down and help us out at our tracks.
The entry list that we have, obviously the depth of talent on a Friday night at Scotia is big. You're going to add, obviously, Megan Perrot's coming back, Bernie's coming back. The 4-car is on the entry list. Aaron Bootler, the 3 of Darren Wallage. The list goes on and on. For those that might not have seen a Scotia Speedworld race, or are coming to the racetrack Friday night for the first time in a while, or are going to tune into Tim's Corner TV. Obviously, we talked about yourself, we talked about Alex, we talked about Devin. Who else do you have on your radar that you have to be on top of your game for to beat on Friday night?
Russell Smith Jr. will be real tough for sure, and I'm thinking Brady Kramer is going to be pretty tough, and probably Brandon Carter if he gets his car dialed in. Aaron Bootler, there's a lot of guys there that can win this race on the weekend.
I think the name that stepped out to me on the entry list was Aaron Butler, because Aaron hasn't run. He didn't run during the COVID season. It's been a couple of years since he's been in the race car. To have Aaron come back out for this race, how neat is it to see that 4-car?
It'd be great to see him come back. He's a good, clean racer, and usually always gives her 110%, the same as the rest of us.
We're live and interactive here this evening with Pete Miller. Be sure to drop us a question or a comment. We'll get it on the air. I know it's a little bit quiet over there, Brandon, but what do you got for Pete Miller?
Yeah, it's pretty quiet. Me and Ryan aren't in here filling up the chat box, and Colin's not here. But so with last year being a COVID year, and Scotia didn't run till later in the year, PEI didn't run. So from a Shediac point of view, where I worked last summer, it was nice to have you guys down. So for the rest of the summer into the fall, do you have any big travel plans for the races, or are you going to stick to Scotia mainly?
We're going to run Scotia. We're going to run Antigonish, whatever they have. I want to make a trip to Lake Doucette. I've definitely been wanting to get to Shediac, but Tim had his races on Sunday afternoons, and that's not really any good for us down here. It's too late when we get home. It's just too much to try to go there on a Sunday afternoon to get back home. But I probably try and make his next one. I think he has one scheduled for this weekend, maybe. But I always told him that Riverside will always be my first choice. So, but if we don't get up there, we'll definitely make it to the Atlantic Championships for sure. And I would like to try, I don't know, no guarantees on it, to get back up to 660 maybe for a speed weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned Riverside a few times, so that track included, but what race do you really want to win this year? And I mean, obviously this Friday's on your list, Riverside's on the list, but are there any other big races that stand out to you?
I've never won the Atlantic Championships before. It'd be pretty cool to win that. But this weekend is the one.
For sure. And we actually have a question pop up, Tim, so it's not so quiet anymore. We have two. Taylor Albert says, Pete, when is the vintage car going to make its appearance? And I didn't even know that was a thing. So
I'm not 100% sure on that. That car there is it's my brother's car. I tried last week to get him to get it out, and he just wouldn't bite on it. There's a little bit left to do to it. We're all as excited as everyone else is to get it out, because there's been a lot of people asking when we're going to have it out, when are you going to have it out? But he said I'd take it last weekend, but I don't really want to take it without him there. It's his car, so I will drive it though.
I know Dylan's excited to see it on track.
I've probably been asked like 1,000 times at the track, Pete, where's the Miller brothers car? I thought they had a Roger Miller tribute. Can you tell folks who are watching tonight what your tribute car is and what the make and model? That I know it's a number 80. I know it's white. What kind of car are you guys brewing up?
It's actually number 81. It's a Bobby White car from back in the 70s. Bobby White's our cousin too. He's our second cousin, Bobby. It's actually one of his cars is what it is from back in the 70s. It's a Russell White lumber car. It's the full body Camaro, like it's the whole body's the 79 Camaro is actually what it is. It's painted identical to what his car was back in the 70s.
We've got 2 races left in the vintage racing schedule, one at 660 for Speed Weekend, then Petty. Do you think Wayne will have her ready for this year, or is this maybe a 2022 thing?
Well, if he would bite and go to the track with me, it'll be there. I wanted to take it last weekend to Scotia, but he just wouldn't bite and go. So,
what do you think of the Heart of a Champion series this year? We had about 11, 12 cars last weekend. It's growing. We've even had guys from Quebec make the trip. But what do you think so far this year from what you've seen?
I think it's going pretty good. There's a lot of nice looking cars there. I enjoy watching them. It's quite interesting actually to see all the old cars out on the track.
Yeah,
I've been around the races now for 40 years, so I've seen it. I remember some of them old cars.
Is there one or two that are in particular that your favorite that just catches your eye, saying, "Wow, look at that! That is a sharp looking race car."
Yeah, I like the looks of the Hanley car that Stacy built. It's quite a looking car. I like it. Tyler Haas's car doesn't look too bad. There's a few nice cars there.
Tim, hopefully we get the number 81 eventually on. I would love to see a ton of cars for that final Mike Stevens weekend, or even some that are going to make the trip to 660.
Yeah, I would love to see it too. Coming up in a couple of weeks' time at Speedway 660. I see Joey's watching on the Pro Stock Tour page. He said Pete enjoys the Bud Light. So will there be any of that on Friday night after the show in celebration?
I'm sure if we win, there's going to be a few Bud Lights on the go.
There you go, Joey. Kenny Hopper says hello. There's a guy we got to get on the show at some point as well. The driver of the 107. He's been really ripping it up in the Lightning car division. Sean Pierce. I'm gonna step on Brandon Campbell's toes a little bit since he's chatting with Ryan Matthews in the chat. Sean wants to know from a guy that's run both as well. What was your favorite race car to run, Pro Stock or Sportsman?
Sportsman's way more fun, way more affordable. I can actually get a Sportsman car to go, where a Pro Stock, I can't really get them to go. When we hit the Pro Stock, we hit it maybe 5 times in 5 years. So it wasn't really a lot of fun. It's costly, but Sportsman is my class. I like Sportsman racing.
From those Pro Stock days, what's your favorite memory of traveling around with that thing?
Probably the night in the island we won the B feature. I think it was the only checkered flag we got with the car.
Always some great memories on the island. Looking forward here to Friday night. It's going to be a big night. We've got a couple of races coming up as well. You mentioned running out all those Scotia races. With this one, I don't think correct me if I'm wrong, it's not a points race, right?
It's a 100-point show-up race is what it is.
Okay, so everybody's going to get the same amount of points across the board. I think there's at least 3-point races coming up following this weekend. So we get through this weekend. It's a very short schedule. I know you're not a huge fan of thinking points, but you won a championship before. So is that somewhere in the back of the mind here going forward?
No, that was our goal when we started the year. I don't think about it a lot. I just go out every night and try to do the best I can, and the points will fall where they fall at the end.
I see Brandon's over there on social. Do you have anything else over there on social that's popped up?
Nothing important. Ryan Matthews showed up. He I don't know what it is. It's a Virginia late model or something. It's kind of like a Sportsman, kind of like a Pro Stock. He races down in Virginia, and it's his first year. He's doing pretty well. But in a late model car, what could he do to get to the next level, do you think? Is it seat time, or is there just a certain trick you got to those cars, or what?
What, to go from a Sportsman to a Pro Stock?
Yeah, and does it come, like, I can't find the words, but what would you just say to a newer driver?
The first thing you need is a pocket full of money.
Oh, Mike Matthews has that.
Well, if he's got a pocket full of money, he should be able to do it. And the Pro Stocks are probably actually easier to drive if you get the proper setup on them. But myself, when I had it, I didn't have the know-how to do it. With a Sportsman car, I can actually get one of them to go around the turns for me the way I want them to. But there's just too much stuff on a Pro Stock, and I just didn't know how to go about doing it. I had all the money I could spend for 3 years when ACL was sponsoring us on the car. We had an open budget, but if you don't know what to do with it, it isn't no good to you.
For sure. Yeah, Tim, social. Oh, Jason McCullough said, "Good luck, Pete. Bring home the hardware."
With any luck, we will.
And other than that, it's pretty dry.
I want to ask you, Pete, because you've been around this sport for 40 years. Where do you see this sport going in 10 years? Obviously, we're just coming over this COVID-19 pandemic, and the car count is starting to come up, and we're starting to kind of see the rebound. That the sportsman division has always been solid in Halifax, but as a whole, where do you see the sport going, let's say, in the next 5 or 10 years?
I think it should stay strong for the next while. The pro stocks, I don't know. It seems like they're letting them get out of control with money. And the sportsman class over the last few years, they're kind of starting to do the same with it, which is a shame. It costs you a lot of money now to run a sportsman car for a year if you want to be competitive, like run at the top all the time. But it just seems like they just keep letting people do stuff and letting it get further and further out of control. So hopefully it stays strong.
Cy Harvey would call it the magic pill. What's the solution to try to get everything back in the box?
Stop letting people get away with stuff. Make them fix their car when they show up to the track with it not right, instead of letting the next guy do it and the next guy do it, and then they say it's too late, you can't go back now because everybody's got it done. It's kind of a shame that happens.
So try to rein it back in the box, and I think that can be echoed for every driver, every division in the Maritimes, and hopefully we can continue to try to bring it back in. Jesse Thompson wants to know, do you have any pre-race rituals?
No, we usually jump in and get buckled in and sit there impatiently waiting to go on the track.
As long as the Legends feature is quick. But this week, and looking at the format, the AJK race is third. So for those that want to come to the racetrack and enjoy the race, and I haven't talked to Ken about driver introductions or anything else like that, but I'm sure we'll do something special before we go racing. But for those that want to come to the racetrack, the Sportsman features third on the night. So that adds a little bit too. And it gives those guys a little bit of an opportunity to prepare for Riverside, right?
Yeah, it gives us a chance to prepare for Riverside. And I also think they're going to do a little bit more teching than they usually do this weekend. I know there's going to be a guy there going up and down pit road all day, checking tires for tire softener and stuff like that. And just like for the best car to win, not the softest tires.
And I talked to Lawrence about an hour before we came on air. I can't say who was helping him out, and it's not necessarily the Sportsman side of things, but it's going to be a familiar face helping out with the NX side of the program this weekend as well. And I'm pretty excited to see him back at the racetrack. But Pete, we got Kyle Hines waiting in the wings. I want to ask you about the team, because I know you don't do it alone. Who do you have on the team that helps you bring this car to the racetrack every week, and marketing partners on this race car too?
DAC Industrial, Shore Cycle Marine, AJK, Turbine Crane and Rigging, Elmsdale Recycling, and we got quite a big crew actually. We got Justin, Colby, Timmy, Dwayne, my wife Rhonda, stepdaughter Annalise. I know I'm forgetting people. Me and Wayne work together on them all the time. Ronnie Withrow. Probably forgetting some people, I imagine, because we got quite a crew. It takes quite a crew to run two cars, but everybody's there every week.
Before we go, give us one final sales pitch. Why should they be at the racetrack to watch the AJK 50 on Friday? Or if they can't make it to the racetrack, why should they be watching on Tim's Corner TV?
Because it's going to be one hell of a race.
I don't think I could say it better myself. Pete, this has been fun. Thank you for joining us, and we'll chat in Victory Lane on Friday night.
I hope you're right. Thanks for having me, Tim.
That's Pete Miller, driver, the number 92 DAC Industrial Engines, AJK Chevrolet. And boys, let's talk fantasy points. And I had to change the graphic this week because we have a new driver, a new person at the bottom. Brandon, welcome.
We have a new winner at the bottom is what you should have said.
Yeah, so you scored 100 points. Congratulations.
Is that max points?
That is max points. You had Cole Butcher to win. Our race was Saturday. You had Cole Butcher to win. So Congratulations, low-hanging fruit. Should mention that I think we had, what did we have? We had 6 picks, including the fans. The fans picked Kent Vincent for last Saturday. All of our picks finished in the top 7. The only one that was not picked that was in the top 7 was 6th place Jared Butcher. So congratulations, because Meredith had the 2-car. Denver had Slaunwhite, obviously, you know, the little social media pick. You had Blankhorn, I had Proud. So obviously it was a decent show. We obviously had one that did not make a pick, no longer with the crew, unfortunately. So they moved down the standings a little bit, and Everybody moves up. I've got a fairly comfortable lead, Dylan. I think you've got some work to do.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Who's our next guest?
No. We gotta make sure our picks are right here.
Okay.
Let's throw the picks up on the screen. Who do you have for Friday night?
For me, I'm gonna pick the man who he is just knocking on the doorstep of Lady Luck and Lady Victory, Alex Johnson. Me and Brandon were at Scotia Speedworld on Friday watching that race. We are in the VIP booth watching.
Waldorf and Stadler, right?
That's right,
Yeah,
Waldorf and
whatever
Stadler. Hey, we called out Darren Wallach for being in the top 5 when he shouldn't have been. Anyways, but I was on the edge of my seat watching that battle with Pete and Alex Johnson. So this weekend at the AJK 50 at Scotia Speedworld, Alex Johnson, he's getting that big win, he's getting the big trophy, and he's getting the big moolah for the weekend.
Okay. Brandon, you have the other half of that side-by-side battle that we saw Friday night.
Yeah, before even seeing the entry list, I actually took Pete Miller, and I'm pretty confident with that, especially after the big one last week. And we saw how much this race means to him, and he said he's going to give his 100%. So I think it's a safe pick for this weekend.
Yeah, Denver and Meredith both have the Smith brothers. Denver's got Russie, Meredith's got Devin. I've got the 85 car. I'm just going to leave it at that because we'll let you know down the road who is there. There is at least one 85 car at Scotia Speedworld. It will be Darren Hilchey. There may be one more to come. I can't tell you anymore. But
I knew that's why there wasn't a name there.
Your picks can be put in at timscorner.ca/fantasy picks. It is for the AJK Sportsman $50 to $1,000 to win race on Friday night at Scotia Speedworld.
What are you hiding from us, Tim?
I'm not really hiding anything from you. I think Brandon's already put 2 and 2 together, but head to timscorner.ca/fantasy picks and get involved, and you could win a prize pack if you have the right pick at the end of the season. We'll make a random draw those that have made the selections per se of the correct picks. But let's go down to the South Shore. Let's go to the Southwest Stock Car Association and bring in our next guest, the driver of the 47 car, and it's Kyle Hines joining us. Larry Gable Memorial coming up on Sunday. Kyle, are you ready for that?
I think so, Tim. You can hear me?
Loud and clear. We got you loud and clear. For this race coming up, obviously, we've been talking all night long about the Scotia Speedworld race, but you guys race this weekend. You're coming off a second place finish. I guess the big story has been Jason Morris winning a couple of races, but you've been right there with them. So what do you got to do to get that checker flag and beat that 76 car this weekend?
Man, he's been a thorn in my side. I know that. It's we've been a bit faster, I feel, but something like he got away to a quick start in the opener, and I couldn't reel him in. Like we just run out of laps. And the next one, the next week we probably led 20 to 25 laps of the feature and blew a right rear, and we still got third out of it. And last week, my only chance, you were there, my only chance I really had was when we went 3 wide with the 16 on the front stretch. And I tried to get down under him, and we had a little oil leak. And I mean, I'm not going to use that as an excuse, but that was my only real chance. And I got down under him, and the 16 kind of touched me, loosened me up. And then the 53, Steve was coming. I said, if I keep messing with him here, we're going to end up in third place. So I just kind of tried to tuck in behind him, protect second, and carry on. But he has done a whale of a job as a rookie. It's incredible. He's barely made a mistake.
And I don't want to bring up the mistakes, but I know you and him had a little get together, little rendezvous in I think it was the second heat race last week or last time we raced. And you guys came home without a scratch. Well, shouldn't say that. You came out without a door on the car. But you guys didn't lose any speed. Chat about that, that second heat race where you guys came together and you guys rebounded for the feature.
He kind of got, I feel like he kind of overdrove one a little bit to clear the 37. and he got up a little bit higher, and I should have backed off it. I felt it in my stomach, and I jumped on it. Because I thought I was going to get them both in the one pass. And just the time I went back in the gas, he got loose up top, come down across. The 37 got him, then I got in the 37, and then I really whacked Jason, and we got the inside fence. It tore all the spikes out of the center link, broke the base pan, and I couldn't believe we got back. That was actually the first heat. We come back and won the second heat like that, all smashed up. It was incredible. I'm more proud of that win than any win so far. Because I wasn't going to fix it. And JP said, well, maybe get out and get some points. And we just kept picking at it. And then JJ McPhee rolled over and saved us. Terrible to say, but that gave us the time we needed. And we put a welder on that brand new base. And we plugged her up and got out and won the second heat. And I had her on the scales tonight. I mean, it wasn't all that oil. She was way out. It was I was quite a little wreck. I mean, to just throw a bunch of joints back at her, and we didn't even measure the toe. We just went out and give her.
And to come back and finish second through all of that and have a fast car knocking on the door of the leader is pretty damn impressive. But JJ said he was willing to roll a race car over again. So if you ever need any extra time, I just call JJ. I'm pretty sure he'd be willing to do it.
Well, I don't think that's what was on his mind. I think his pedal went to the floor on the brake side of things. But it worked out good for us because we would have missed that, and it likely would have took us out of the point contention. I mean, there's not a lot to go, and we come out of there. We went in. We were one behind, and we come out tied for the lead in the points. So there was a lot of people turned some wrenches on that car. Francois Burke that drives the other 47, my brothers, everybody seemed to be there was pliers and stuff flying everywhere. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that car, when they lined us up, I took my spot, but I said, I'm going to back off the field under caution here before we start. And I said, I'm going to poke her in the 3. If it squeals, I'll let the boys go ahead of me. And it never made a sound. And I said, well, we'll try it. I don't know. We'll try it. And man, we went from the back to the front in about 3 laps, I think. And I felt bad. I took the win from Sean Pierce, but he's had a hard start. But I think he's been a great addition. I wish we hope he gets things working a little better. But I pick him for 2 wins this Sunday. He's got her figured out now, and I think his piece is working pretty good.
Dylan, I want to ask you, what are you eating?
None for you.
That's not what I asked. What are you eating?
Pasta. Chantel was like, "Hey, I'm cooking dinner. You want stuff?" I'm like, "I'm on camera, so."
That's fine.
We like food.
Moncton isn't far. I'll take some.
I don't pass up good food either, but I want to ask you, because your first experience at Lake Doucette was a week and a half ago, and you got to see the phenomenal Sportsman race that we're talking about. So how neat was it to be at Lake Doucette, your first experience, your first impressions, and what did you see on the racetrack from these guys?
Well, Kyle, it's great to have you on the show, number one, and congrats on your great run there. It was so cool because I've heard so much about it. I've seen so many videos on the Facebook page and just on Facebook in general. So I've been wanting to get there for a while. And the Sportsman, at first when that wreck happened, Kyle, my heart kind of sunk because I was thinking, is this going to be the tone of the day where it's just going to be a wreck fest? We've been at many races where it just turns into that. But I was so happy to see you come back out in that second heat with no door, which I thought, okay, they're going to like bare bond the door back on the whole left side. They would put some tape on it, but you came out and just, I'm seeing bars and I'm seeing parts of the car, which I didn't think I was going to see. Did you get some decent airflow, like a little air conditioning going through in the turns there?
In that first heat, I was still pretty hot. I didn't get a chance to see any video yet, and I was pretty certain I just got outright wrecked, but I didn't, and I had to haul my horns in and apologize. So I was still pretty hot under the collar when we went out. So about the free air going, I'm not sure, but it was It's quite a place, though. I've had a lot of fun there over the years. It is one of my favorite places on earth, and it's fast. But boy, if you mess up getting into one, there's no better tutorial on how to drive a race car in probably the Maritimes than that place, because you overdrive one and your whole lap is done, and you're getting freight trained.
Why is that? What's the reasoning for someone who's never been to Lake Doucette Motor Speedway? Because seeing it in person, it blew my mind. And with that double apex turn for 1 and 2, going downhill, uphill the first part, downhill the second part, it is a really tricky turn.
Yeah, it's in the entry kind of moves around through the day, and it doesn't warn you. 3 and 4 stays about the same all day long, but it seems like the entry of 1 there early in the race, I can nip the cement on the inside, and then it'll de-wedge the car enough. But it seems like later in the day you try that and you just go straight. There's very little banking right there on the entry if you happen to notice. And boy, if you think you're going to make time by driving in there, you're seriously wrong. And I think that's what makes me a little better than some. I'm really good under braking there into 1, and it seems like I can get the car settled maybe a little quicker than some. And that's the business of it right there. It's the entry of 1.
What was your first experience, Kyle, racing at Lake Doucette and in a Sportsman car and having that thrill of going uphill and then downhill?
My first experience was in about 01, and she was dirt and it was bigger. And the police used to come and radar us there just for fun. And we were getting like 155, 145 kilometers an hour down that hill on the backstretch. We shortened the track. I was on the committee back then as well. We shortened the track for fear of 150-mile speeds. And so the backstretch used to go way up almost into the barn. And I'm telling you, you had to run. And we raced steel body cars there for the first year in 01 or so. I can't remember. And then we made a super modified class. It was all Sportsmans and Pro Stops, and we put the horsepower to them. And I'm telling you, anyone that ever saw a dirt race prior to 05 at Lake Doucette, you had to go pretty far down in southern U.S. to see something faster than that. She was a full half mile, and we had the gear, like 570, 600 horsepower, and Sportsman cars just screaming down that hill. And then 04 we raced, or 05, sorry, we raced half the schedule on dirt and the other half on paved in the same facility. It was a peculiar year, and that was my first experience ever on pavement was in 05. And my brothers wouldn't even watch. They said I had the wheels turned up into the wheel well right off of 2 all day. They were terrified, but I didn't really enjoy it. Our cars were beat so badly from the dirt, you couldn't set them up. None of us knew how to set them up. And so I kind of got out of it till I don't know, 14 or so again. And I practiced my buddy Justin's car for him. He wasn't driving, and he wanted me to see if I couldn't straighten it out a little bit. And that was the end of that. I was right back in her.
I know we're going to bounce around a little bit, Kyle, but what were your thoughts when Lake Doucette was paved? Because I know one guy who loved racing there when it was a dirt track, and when it became paved, he didn't want to race there anymore. And why did it get paved? Was there just a demand for a paved track down in the front shore, or for safety? What was the reason?
It just seems like up here with the soil we have, you get about 4 or 5 good years out of the place, and then you'd have to mothball the whole facility for let nature do its thing. Gaston at the time, Camo, the former track owner, I mean, he like Tony Stewart there at Eldora, he was working at that track constantly. He had excavators, he had compactors, he had graders, everything. And for three years, I feel we put on some of the best racing shows, around. But late 04, 05, we beat it. You couldn't compact it. You just couldn't put it back. And by the time the feature race rolled around, it was just a wreck fest. And yeah, there's one of the Miller brothers right there trying to catch me.
Yeah,
it's funny to hear him tell the story.
You go ahead.
It was funny to hear him tell the story. You tell the story about him winning on the outside the other night, because one of the races that he won up there, Pete, he trapped me down on the bottom, and I'm a bottom feeder. I don't mind being down there, but he held me down there with an eighth of an inch between us for 4, 5, 6, 7. It just kept going on, and he wore me out. And he's one of the only guys I've seen that can, like, I can jump out there and get a car or two now and then, but he can run the whole darn race out there.
And especially at that racetrack, it's quite impressive to do that. And with everything that you have to do and run 1 and 2, and I almost say 1 and 2 and 3, because it's almost like a double apex up the hill, and then come down in 3 and 4 and run completely different. It's a feat all in its own. I want to ask you about, before we go to Brandon on social, we got about 15 or so minutes left. So if you're on social, drop us a question, drop us a comment for Kyle Hines, and we'll get to Brandon in just a moment. But the personalities that are at Lake Doucette, not just in that sports division. You mentioned Sean Pierce coming down, which is huge to race in that late model sports division. But you've had some personalities come and go, guys like Dominic Hanna and those guys. But to have, Frank still in the pits and Wild Willie and Sean Burke and those guys that paint the picture and put on a show. Every racetrack has them, but it seems like the camaraderie in the pitch. You guys go out there, put on a show, and then you're shaking hands afterwards. It's just, the atmosphere is just different. Talk about those personalities that are on the racetrack and the atmosphere for those that might not know about Lake Doucette Motor Speedway.
I do. I miss having Dom around the track. He was pretty good, and he's always good natured. But Willard, though, I mean, how many 76-year-olds do you know can do what he did last Sunday? I mean, he hung out there on the outside, and he kept them there, kept Mike pinned down, and I didn't think he'd get him, because I was in the car strapped in for the Sportsman feature, but I kept seeing him go into 3, and I'd see him come out of 4 leading every lap, but Mike would get him the rest of the way. And that man won his first race in 1967. And he's won the championship in the V8. And I mean, he was racing people, in some cases, 40, 50 years younger than him. I mean, they didn't give it to him. And to see him do that, and he does it consistently every year, it's amazing. And he's leading the points right now with 101 points.
And the battle with him and Mike, they did not touch one door. There was a lot of respect shown by those two in that V8 stock race here a week and a half ago. Brandon, I know you've got a couple questions and comments on social. What do you got over there?
Yeah, Laura Ann said it was awesome racing. Joe Harry, I assume the flagman down there?
Yep.
He says, Tim, I'll be in the flagman this Sunday in white. Is that an inside joke or?
It's so Joe, when Steve Austin went down for the East Coast Mini Stock Tour, Steve kind of handled the whole show, and Joe was prepared to flag, and Joe's dressed head to foot in white. To see him out there on the cleanup crew, which you get a little dirty out there, to see him dressed head to foot in white was quite something. We joke with Joe. Joe, again, great personality at the racetrack, and looking forward to hopefully seeing Joe on Sunday. What else you got over there, Brandon?
Barb Hubley says they're watching. Ed LeBlanc said it was definitely a moment getting blown by on both sides up the front that day. Is there something I should know about that?
No, I think that was just the 3-wide move. You and Jason going by him, right, Kyle?
I just felt whoever lifted there was losing the race. That's what it felt. And if we hadn't cleared Ed when we did, somebody was going to have to give, because there's no way you're making that entry 3 wide. There's just no way. And I remember thinking to myself, for God's sakes, Ed, because he's a rookie, but he's doing well. I was thinking, for God's sake, said, please just stay there in the middle. And we split him, and everybody got through there. But I knew if I lifted that, that was the end of it, that I couldn't get back to him. And anyway, we all got through it. And I'm a little wiser than I used to be. I wouldn't even have thought about Ed holding his line, or maybe I should lift 5-6 years ago. I wouldn't even have considered it, but I'm older and I hurt now. And I don't like them big wrecks up into the fence anymore.
Yeah, no, it's definitely somewhere I'd stay away from. But I actually haven't been down to Lake Doucette, but Tim's been speaking about it for about 2 weeks straight now, so it's definitely on my bucket list. I got to go visit my good buddy Kyle Boudreau. But for a guy that, where Lake Doucette's a little bit of a drive for us Moncton folk, I'll take a little bit from Tim's book here. Give me your best sales pitch for why I should come to Lake Doucette. Hello?
You might have him stumped there.
Am I talking?
You were breaking up a little bit.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Yep. So give me your best.
My best sales pitch.
There we go.
Well, you're going. Never in the history of racetracks does loose as fast mean as much as it does there. And I mean, it was literally the loosest car. If the guy can just hang on to it, is going to win. And it seems like a loose car was really suited to going fast there. And I mean, if you're not sideways off a 2, you're running in the back. And so my best sales pitch is come watch us drive the loosest Sportsman you ever saw.
Does that sum it up for you, Brendan?
Yeah, if again the mini stock would turn on, Lake Doucette's definitely on my bucket list, because again, Tim and Dylan have been talking about it for weeks, and they go to a lot of tracks, and I've never heard the feedback I've heard from the Lake Doucette weekend. So I definitely got to make it down there one day.
I think it's just, even if you don't have a race car, I think it's just a matter of going down and experiencing it. And I know from a driver's standpoint, I know the East Coast Mini Stock Tour was absolutely blown away the first time they came down there a couple of years ago. And obviously with COVID restrictions, we still can't line them up the way we did. But 3, 4, and 5 deep in lawn chairs at the top of the hill as a race car driver, Kyle. And I know they're clearing land to build some more fan seating on the other side of the tower. But to drive up that hill and see all those people up there lined up 3, 4, 5 deep, how neat is that as a race car driver to see all those people?
It's neat. It is. And like, I mean, they treat you like you're, the fans are fans up here. They treat you like you're a celebrity or something, which is peculiar. And like I said, I was pretty proud of that win Sunday, and I really took a second. I sat there on the line for a second. JP gave me the flag because he was as surprised as I was that I won. And I really took a second to look up there. And, even in, like you say, even in COVID restrictions, there was some pile of cheering and arms going. And, it makes you feel good. It does. But we're as packed as we can get right now. And we are, if we get more restrictions lifted, we're going to put more stands there below the tower, like you were talking. We're trying to improve the place a little each year to, try and get some high ticket races in there. Try and fill the place with a big card. But it's difficult. We run nonprofit, so you got to watch your P's and Q's of what we're doing. But so far, we seem to make an improvement at least every year on the place.
And I think you guys were heading in the right direction with that Riverside Lobster 100 before COVID hit, and kind of changed everything up and what have you. And I know there's some comments rolling in now about the hospitality, and it's great to see. And I know that everybody that I've talked to that has gone down, I know Brittany's no longer with our crew, but I'm going to echo what Brittany Hoyt said a couple of years ago. She was absolutely blown away. And, it's a long drive from Fredericton, but she said she would be back just because of the hospitality and the way that everybody's treated. You're treated like you are home. And Dylan, I think you can relate to this too. I spent probably an hour and a half walking up pit road, and I was supposed to be doing social on Sunday when we were down there 2 weeks ago. And I couldn't get to my phone because, chatting and reminiscing and talking to everybody. And Dylan, I know you felt the same way just going there for the first time. And oh, by the way, we've got some B-roll on the screen, Dylan, of some onboard stuff of Lake Doucette if you haven't seen it yet.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, no, it's a big family atmosphere. And for myself, being the announcer at Valley Raceway, a lot of those drivers have been racing at Lake Doucette, and they're bringing their families there since the Valley hasn't run since 2019. So it was like a family reunion of sort, Kyle. But then it was meeting the guys and gals that we've been doing the iRacing stuff with since the pandemic. And, like a guy like Nick Doucette, like meeting him for the first time in person. And then you try and get something done. You talk to this person, that person, and then it's like 2 hours later, and we got to start racing. It's a wonderful time, and I can't wait to get back when we are out of some of these restrictions. It's like with every racetrack right now. We've got certain caps on it. I want to get back there when it's full-fledged, like Doucette Motor Speedway, to see what kind of an experience it is. And I want to see more stands there and see the place packed.
Yeah, it's we used to pack the place. There was stands where we're putting the new ones when it was dirt. We used to have to stop charging sometimes at 10 in the morning on the dirt. Just completely flat packed the place. But it was a struggle to get it going as a paved track. It kind of was, and really without the hard work of the previous committee, Charles Poole and his gang. I mean, they toughed it out. They basically run a 4-cylinder class for a year or two, and slowly but surely it kept picking up, and we would have had a great Sportsman division up until COVID. People were buying cars every year. We'll still put 10, 12 cars out there. So, that's good for most tracks nowadays, I guess.
And just looking up and down the comments, regular names. Jason Morris is watching. I want to say hello to Jason. We mentioned earlier he's had a hell of a season so far for his rookie year. Alan Fitzgerald, Scott Williams, who rolled a car down there a couple of years ago, and hope to see him back at some racetracks here in the next little bit. Sean Pierce said he'd do a 100-lap show there, no problem. I think he's used to those big shows, but we're getting tight on time. And I want to go back to Ian DeMiller's comment, and he said Kyle is looking like he's headed for another title. So let's put the forecast, the crystal ball ahead of us. Are we winning a championship this year in that Sportsman division?
Well, I'm going to give it my all. I'm not going to whine if I don't. I feel like I've run my best this year of all, and Jason's brought it out. He has. He's brought a little bit more out of me. I think we finished third is that's the worst I finished in the feature, and we blew a tire. I mean, I've been first or second in almost every race we've run this year, and I'm still only tied. So, I mean, I can't complain about that. If I don't win the championship running that well, that's not on me. And if he beats me, he beats me. He's run well enough to beat me. And if I beat him, it won't be because he hasn't got the talent, because he does. If he has done an incredible job. He was out of the car for 2 years. I haven't even sat in a Sportsman other than in practice. He'd only practiced a Sportsman prior to this season.
It's an amazing transition, or just to be watching him move up, and with his move and his progression, I guess the future is bright for racing at Lake Doucette Motor Speedway, and seeing all the Sportsman cars and seeing the V8 stocks. We saw the phenomenal show 2 weeks ago. The 4-cylinders always put on a great show. I'm looking forward to seeing another one on Sunday. Angie, amazing drivers and staff, and she's one of them because I know she stepped up to do race control and race directing, and she's done a great job as well. It takes a whole village and a whole community to make things happen. Kyle, we're running short on time. I want to let you have your sponsors and give them a little bit of a push. And I know you have a great crew behind you that gets the 47 to the racetrack. Who makes it happen for you?
Well, I get the fish man, and Hines Marine has been a big help, and Roy's Auto Body. Poor Roy just passed away here this spring, and that snappy paint job that's on the car is getting pretty dug up now. But they did it, and I'm actually going to hang on to it as long as I can, just because it was come out of Roy's Body Shop. And so we got Tri-Nav Marine Brokers just signed on, and I guess that's about all of them for now. But we have had a lot of support and a lot of help. And, it's a family thing here. We're running 2 cars now. We got Frankie B in the other 47. And he won his very first feature, won it first week we brought the car there. But last week she didn't run as well, I guess. But anyway, you can't win them all. But it's a family thing. And that's what it's like up at the track. I mean, Steve McPhee gave me a center link. I mean, here he is racing against me. And that piece put me back in the field. I mean, that's what it's like up there. I'd like to, thank him for that, but not everyone's doing that.
Yeah, and you go from track to track. There's 1 or 2 in every crowd, but it just seems like that everybody at that racetrack is so welcoming. The hospitality is second to none, and I'm looking forward to, as long as the weather plays nicely Friday and Saturday. Riverside's a 4:00 start. We should be out of there fairly quickly. Hope to make the trip down this weekend for the Larry Gable. I know there's a couple of races, I believe, still available. Contact the folks on the group and get yourself to Lake Doucette Motor Speedway this weekend if you're looking for some great racing action. Kyle, this has been fun. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to connecting with you back again on Sunday and watching you drive that thing to victory lane.
We will see you in Victory Lane Sunday with my Larry Gable trophy that I've blown every year since its inception. I'm getting the trophy this week, Jason Morris.
Well, we look forward to it. That is Kyle Hines, driver of the 47. We want to thank all of our marketing partners that helped put on this show here at Tim's Corner. And coming up this week as well, the AJK 50, our live event on the TV side of things coming up. And Dylan, I know you're excited for this one. Wait. If you turn on your microphone, it works better. There you go.
Sorry, seating. I am looking forward to this, Tim. I wish I could be there in person, but I'm going to be watching with you and the crew on TCM.TV with Dewey. Dewey wants to cheer for Alex Johnson too, and I can't bring him to the racetrack. So we're going to watch that, and then we're going to have some fun at Riverside on Saturday for the Wilson Equipment Summer Sizzler Twin 75s. I just voiced the commercial for Hot Country 103.5 in the city for it. So if you hear my voice, that's why. So we got a great big pro stock race coming up. Napa Sportsman Series. Weather's looking good. Going to be a great time. So remember to get your tickets as well. Still a few tickets kicking around for that race. RiversideSpeedway.ca. There may be a few kicking around at the gate on Saturday morning, but why chance it? COVID capacity. Want to get those and get them all ready. And I know we've got a lot of giveaways ready to go, Tim, too. We're going to treat the fans that are going out this weekend at Riverside. We got a lot of quick stuff and some swag bags as well, too.
And Robbie McLean says, I know we get you front and center, Dylan. So there you go. Even though you were eating half the show and didn't bother to send me or Brandon anything.
I was testing it. I was making sure it was good. So Saturday, I'll bring some.
Okay, well
that doesn't help me.
I was gonna say Brandon's not. I mean, you're more than welcome to come to Riverside, but that doesn't help him. So that's fine. Maybe 2 weeks time. I think you talked about Petty maybe. I don't know where you're going, Dylan. You may be a Petty, you may not be. You're going to be a who knows? We really don't know what's going on with scheduling, but we'll figure it out. I know the Maritime League of Legends Store and the Maritime Street Stock Series are over at PEI in a couple of weeks. They're racing Saturday night as well. So Oyster Beds racing the Gunslinger 50 at Speedway 660s this weekend. Lake Doucette Sunday. The AJK $1,000 to win on Friday at Scotia. Saturday at Riverside. Eastbound is off for another week. They're racing on the 29th of August. List goes on and on. Get yourself to a racetrack. Enjoy some great racing. Valley Raceway's next weekend as well on the Sunday. There's so much going on. It's big race season. Got some 250s coming up in September. Got some big shows. This is going to be a great time to be a race fan. And you're going to be able to see some of it here on Tim's Corner TV, starting with the show coming up on Friday night with the AJK Sportsman 50. Join us on Tim's Corner TV. That is going to be a great show. Get to a racetrack. Enjoy your weekend. It looks like, for now, knock on wood, it's going to be a beautiful weekend for it. So, Brandon, thank you for joining us. I know you're are you helping Paul here in about 10 minutes or so?
I don't know. It's 10 o'clock.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Let's play that.
Yeah, I'm getting old. I turned 24 in 2 hours. Give me a break. I'm getting old.
In the words of Megan Perrott, it's not a shitty joke. It's a shitty excuse, but we'll leave it at that. We had fun Friday night. It was a blast. Looking forward to Friday night coming up here. Dylan looking forward to Saturday with the East Coast International Pro Stock Tour, the Napa Sports Series of Wilson Equipment, Summer Sizzler, Twin 75s, Riverside Roulette Extravaganza on Saturday afternoon. That's going to do it for us. If you're wanting to see some more racing, Vidane TV has some Loose Lugs racing, their Loose Lugs Racing League coming up. And I know we're looking at doing some iRacing stuff again beginning in November. So if you have those virtual simulators, those iRacing machines ready to go, be sure to.
I like real racing.
I know you do. We still got plenty of racing to come though before we hit.
I'm not good at real racing. I like the fake stuff.
You can still find a way to not start your sim car though. I've done that before.
Yeah.
For everybody, and I know Denver Matchett and Meredith Hay are watching as well. Want to thank them and look forward to having them for the AJK 50 and at Riverside for the upcoming Wilson Equipment Summer Sizzler. Thank you, Brandon, for joining us tonight. On behalf of Paul Strickland Jr. and Dylan Langell, my name is Tim Terry. We will see you Friday night. We say let's go racing for the $1,000 to win AJK Sportsman 50 at Scotia Speedworld. Until then, keep the hammer down, and we'll see you at the track.